Here's a quick overview of a lap at Autobahn on the South Circuit. Relatively short circuit, 2.1 miles, 15 turns. And we are coming to the end of the longest straight, which is just over a third of a mile, coming into turn 11. So let's just roll this forwards. And the reason why I started this lap so early was just so you can see a car off track on the right. So it's just like lemons. So we're coming up to turns 13 and 14, which set up the lap. Here we are coming down pit straight. Braking is probably just before the two board. It's quite a hard braking, but it's certainly in the pit exit area, which is what you can see just here. Turn in is a little difficult to identify, but it's after the one board. I would say it's probably round about here where this grass is. We are looking for the apex, which is pretty much all the way around here. If you apex too early on this corner, you will run out of room, and the corner tightens up quite a lot. And really, I look at turns 1 and 2 as one big corner. Your focus, let's just bring this forwards a little bit. So once we've turned in, we're wanting to hit the edge of the curbing very much towards the end. So as you turn in, look for this bit here on the end, and then immediately focus your vision all the way around here. And that will be the apex of turn 2. So let's just roll this forwards a little bit. If you focus on this curbing here, you will probably run out of room. So what we want to be doing instead is, as soon as you've turned in, focus over here. So keep the wheel turned tight in and judge your speed through here on the throttle and get through this corner. And you want to really be apexing at the end of this corner so that you can open up turn 3. Now in the BMW, this is going to be flat through here. Don't turn in too early. You can see we're just clipping the curb towards the end. There's plenty of curb on the outside. Now coming into turn 4, this is actually faster than you think. It's a 90-degree corner, but it's quite open. And we're in 4th gear at this point. I would think about braking somewhere around here, so in between the 1 and the 2. And turn in is past the 1. So you can see that we are probably, let's just come up to the 1 board. See, we haven't started turning in yet. And so we're turning in just after the 1 board. So we want to apex all the way around here. And you'll see as we go through, the exit curbing is very, very late. We can't even see the exit curbing yet. I've actually apexed a little early here, probably using too much of that curb. But if you turn in too early, you'll run out of room on the outside, but use all of this exit curbing here. And then this next corner looks very similar, but is actually a lot more open, so we can turn in early. Very, very light brake. Both of these corners are a very light brake. So I'm turning in before the 1 here, and you'll see there's lots of room on the exit. Now let the car keep coming around and head for this green light. Now, I think there are different ways of doing this corner. Alex tends to take this first apex here and then break across here. What I'm doing is I'm looking at this board here. So I'm heading in a straight line to just inside this board, breaking in a straight line. So I'm doing a diamond. So I'm braking in a straight line here, heavy brake, changing down into third gear, and you want to focus on this red garage here. That is your focus point for the exit. And I'm actually a little wide of this apex here. There is enough room to miss it, but if you can get down to the apex, use all of the exit curbing here. And then we immediately want to have our eyes up, and the next corner is here, but we want to be focused as we come through it in between the 4 and the 3 board all the way down here. So as you hit this corner, you're going to have your eyes up, focusing down here. So this corner's flat in 4th gear. You can see I'm aiming right in between the 3 and the 4. This is a heavy brake in between the 2 and the 3. This next corner, or next 2 corners, looks and feels similar to turns 1 and 2, but it's not as tight. So you can actually carry a little more speed through this corner here than you did through turn 1. Again, relatively late apex, eyes up and focusing down here. Heavy braking here. This corner is called patience, and it's called patience for a reason. We want to focus on here. That is our apex. So let's roll this through a little bit. And don't make the mistake, you can see I'm apexing very late here. Do not make the mistake of opening up the corner and aiming out here. What we actually want to do is keep turning around the corner and heading down here so we can open up this next corner here. Let's carry this through. So what I'm trying to do here is be patient. You can see my hands are still turned in, and in this car I'm doing it in 2nd gear. So I would think in the 328 it is the same gear. So we want this as open as possible. Now don't make the mistake of turning in too early and apexing early here, because if you do that you'll run out of room. So we are focusing to apex on the back half of this corner right here, and then eyes up looking towards this exit, and we want to be heading in that direction as much as possible here. If you turn in early there, you will run out of room. There's not a ton of room here. This is a very important corner. It's more than 90 degrees, and it's a tight corner, but we've got the longest straight following it. So we want to make sure that we get the best exit possible out of that corner. Now, coming into turns 11 and 12, the exit out of 12 is important here. So we want to be really careful about getting the car lined up properly through 11. It's a 90-degree corner, and then 12 opens up and there's a lot more room than you think. So braking is between the 3 and the 4. You really want to get the car slowed down and then use as much of this curbing as you possibly can. You probably want to get even your left wheels up on this curb. So really, really use as much as you can to get the car pointed over to here, right? So we want to be pointing over to here and get a good exit out of turn 12, which, as I said, is quite an open corner. So when we exit 11, we want to go to mid-track. See, I'm a little bit far over to the left here, but the idea is to open up this corner as much as we can. So use this curb on the inside, use this bit of the curbing, not this bit. If you get up on top, it'll spit the car out. And then there's a lot of room over to the right. Head back towards this light, ready to open up turns 13 and 14. Now, this is a double apex corner. You may be able to get away with just a lift here, but it's a very, very light brake. I'm not that concerned about hitting this apex. The important one is turn 14, the second apex. So we're back to power very, very early. The pit entrance is here. So if you're coming off track, make sure you go wide, stay over to the left. You haven't got a lot of time to get in there. So as we come around turn 14, we want to start focusing over here. So that's going to be your exit line. And aim at the end of these barriers here. Try not to hit them, don't stare at them too long, but that's the only place on this track where the Armco is close. But your speed isn't that high, so there shouldn't be a problem there at that point. And that is the final turn on the track, turn 15. This is leading us back down to the start-finish line. And there is a lap around Autobahn South.